Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to take a quick look at the game Forbidden Desert. Now, Forbidden Desert is the sequel to Forbidden Island. In case you haven't played that game or watched the video that I just published, Forbidden Island tasks players with working together in an attempt to gain 4 treasures before the island sinks. So there's a cooperative theme there. And for the most part, it's the same here. Players are still going to be working together. But instead of sinking tiles, this is a desert theme. We won't actually be losing any tiles this time around like you could in Forbidden Island. But tiles will be flooded with these sand markers. And you'll have to try and collect these treasures before basically players get buried out with all of this sand. So let's just take a quick look at all of the components and how the game is played. Alright, now as far as the components go, you've got a few different things going on here. Off to your left-hand side, you have a sand tracker. Now this functions sort of just like the water tracker did in Forbidden Island, but instead of tracking water along this track, you're tracking the progression of the sand. Also, just like Forbidden Island, you've got these adventurer cards. Each player is going to be able to pick an adventurer card, and each one has a special ability on it. For example, the Explorer. You can move, clear sand, and use dune blasters diagonally. What else we got here? The Water Carrier can take 2 water from excavated water tiles for 1 action. So yeah, different abilities here. This allows players to use special abilities to help each other out during the course of the game. Now there are 2 decks here, the Storm deck and the Equipment deck. Now the Storm deck has a few different cards in it. Let's see, let's go over this one first. Now, during a player's turn, they're going to have to draw from the Storm deck to signify the Storm's progression through the game. This particular card will track the Eye of the Storm's movement, basically telling players where the eye is going to move on that particular turn. Now, if you can see behind you here, along the top on the board, the center is where the center of the board, there's a hole, and that is where the Eye of the Storm is going to start in the game. But this center, this hole, will be moving around the board depending on what cards come up here. Now, as this eye moves around, sand will be left in its wake via these sand markers. Now, these sand markers basically serve to trip players up. Normally, a player will not be able to move onto a desert tile that has 2 of these sand markers on it. So players will need to continuously remove these sand markers in order to access these desert tiles. Also in the Storm deck, you've got the Storm Picks Up card. And sort of like the Waters Rise cards, the Storm Picks Up cards basically raises the notch on this meter. The higher the number on this meter, the more Storm cards that are drawn from the deck during a player's turn. The Sun Beats Down card. Now that's something new. Each player is going to have to worry about going thirsty in this game. On every adventurer card, there is a track along the left-hand side. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. You've got 4, 3, 2, 1, and then a skull. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and a skull and crossbones on the bottom. Now these meters that come with the game, you can fit right on top of the card here, and you can track the progression of the water level that your character has during the course of the game. So as these Sun Beats Down cards come up, you'll be lowering your water level accordingly. Now there are some cards in the deck and some special items that help players out to prevent this from happening. Now if any one player reaches the skull and crossbones, game over for everybody. So that's a bad thing. So you'll want to try and find water throughout the course of the game. How do you find water? Well, there are special tiles, desert tiles, that have an oasis on it. And let's see if I can zoom in on that. They are marked with this little water droplet here. Now, any player that excavates a tile that has this image on it will be able to raise their water level accordingly. So it's important for players to, all players to be on this tile in order for all of them to gain water level. If only one player is on this tile when it's excavated, then that person would get the 1 water, and that's it. So these tiles are very helpful, but there's a limited number of these, so it's important to keep your water level up and prevent players from going thirsty. Let's see what else we got here. This ship model represents the player's ship. Basically, the story is this ship has crashed into this desert, and you need to find 4 parts. In Forbidden Island, you had to find 4 treasures, but in this game, you had to find 4 parts. And as you can see here, you've got some cool-looking things here, and they fit right on that ship. I'm not exactly the best with my hands, so let's just take a quick look if I can get this. No! Alright, there's one. This one slides in like that, I think. Yep. This one slides upside down, and this one fits in there. Back. Yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah, I was testing the kids. So yeah, the goal of this game is to find these 4 parts in the desert, put them on their ship, and then find the landing pad in order to escape before players go thirsty or before the desert buries them with sand. And that's pretty much it. You've got player pawns here, and just like in Forbidden Island, the desert tiles will serve as your board, and players will be moving these pawns around these tiles accordingly. Alright, now on a player's turn, they'll be able to take up to 4 actions. They'll be able to move, they'll be able to remove sand, excavate, or pick up a machine part. Now, moving, just like in Forbidden Island, it would take 1 action to simply move to the next adjacent tile over. That would count as 1 action. Removing sand, is just like in Forbidden Island. Instead of turning or flipping tiles over from the water side to the land side, you're simply going to be removing sand markers that you're either on or adjacent to. So I would spend 1 action to get rid of this one as red, and then another action to get rid of this one as red. Now it's important to note that a player cannot normally move onto a desert tile that has 2 sand markers already on them. That's actually what the reverse side of these tiles are for. This is simply to remind players that no, you can't move here because there's already 2 sand markers present. Now, one of the adventurers, I believe the climber, has the ability to transverse these freely. Now, excavating, that's another player action, and that's something new to Forbidden Desert that wasn't in Forbidden Island. Basically, what excavating does is these tiles start off on their blank side, and players are going to be trying to explore these tiles. That's why it's important to remove the sand markers. You can't excavate a tile if there's a sand marker on it. So why would you want to excavate these tiles? Well, that's how you find these machine parts. As you flip over these tiles, let's see here, you'll eventually find 2 tiles that has a matching part on it. In this example, you've got a wheel down here, or a compass or sundial, whatever that happens to be, and that would indicate the direction of where it is located on the board. According to this, it is located in this particular column. So somewhere along this column, that sundial exists. So that's why it's important to find the other one. In this case, it happens to be up here. Now this card indicates left and right. So, knowing this, you would simply find where they intersect, which happens to be this tile, and then the part becomes discovered. You would simply put that part there, and then that leads you to the 4th action that a player may take, pick up a part. If they manage to get their pawn over to this tile, they may use an action to pick up that part. And that's basically what players are going to be doing throughout the game. They're going to be trying to find 2 of the matching part tiles, find the row and column that the part is in, and then it becomes revealed, and then go and pick up that part. They'll have to do that 4 times. Now other tiles have machine wheels on them, little symbols. This means that a player can draw from this equipment deck. And basically, equipment cards simply allow players to do specific things to help them out. Jetpacks, for example, move to any unblocked tile. One other pawn on your starting tile may come along for the ride. So these special equipment cards will definitely help players out throughout the course of the game. Now, how does the storm move around and leave these sand markers? Well, let's take a quick look at this previous example. You've got a card here that says that the wind is blowing to the right. In this example, the eye would move in the opposite direction, if you can believe that. Instead of moving to the right, the eye will move to the left. But if you can think about it this way, the wind is blowing the tiles to the right. So because there's two squares on this, I would move two tiles over, and now the eye is over here. Now because these two tiles moved, I would place a sand marker on both of them to signify that the storm did its thing and created chaos. And of course, that ends after 4 actions. Before that player's turn ends, they have to draw storm cards equal to the number listed on the tracker. So that eye is going to be moving around a few times on a player's turn. And of course, that's obviously going to leave more sand markers for players to clean up. Alright, and there you have it. That's just a quick look at the game. I didn't cover everything that the manual entails, but this should give you a rough idea as to what the game is like. Again, I really enjoy this game. It's cooperative, it encourages communication. Players are definitely going to have to work together, use their special abilities, and get these machine parts before the sand ends up burying them. So yeah, you can check out the review at www.dadsgamingaddiction.com, or you can click on the link in the below description that'll take you there as well. This is AJ and Vinny Jr. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.